Hello everybody, this is TipTopMTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I am going to be discussing the Secret Lair Walking Dead crossover along with non-Magic IP on Magic cards. I want to preface this video by saying this video is going to be kind of negative, it's going to kind of be rambly, and it's going to be kind of a rant. And so if you guys don't like any of those things, I recommend you click off. I felt like I had to say something. I couldn't just not make a video on the topic, as it is such a big one right now. So I kind of wrote down some of my thoughts and I'm just going to go through them. So yeah, this video is probably going to be a little more casual than normal, but I hope you guys enjoy. So Secret Lair The Walking Dead was released for order about a week ago. What is my opinion? Well, I think by the beginning of this video, you can tell that I hate it. I have really disliked most black border non-Magic IP cards. I even did a similar video back with the Godzilla cards, talking about how the Godzilla cards were the worst part of Ikoria. Obviously, you're entitled to your own opinion, and most of these are just my opinion. In my opinion, the idea of this is awful. Not only are the new cards only going to be in the Secret Lair, but you may be forcing people who don't want third-party IPs on their cards to use them. And so I feel like the Secret Lair Walking Dead was wrong on so many levels. They didn't just push it too far in one category, they pushed it too far in all of them. I mean, Magic has done third-party IPs in the past, Transformers, My Little Pony, and even Godzilla, but you'll notice a theme about all of those in the past. Transformers and My Little Pony were both silver-bordered cards, so they weren't legal for play in any format, unless your group allowed it, which I'd be completely fine with if they did that with the Walking Dead cards. The Godzilla cards were alternate art for all the cards except for Godzilla himself. That one Godzilla card did receive a lot of backlash though, but something that saves the card is that it had the alternate name on the card, so in the future, it's not as restrained as the new Walking Dead cards are. I mean, obviously the silver bordered cards don't really matter. I mean, if you really wanted to say that silver bordered cards are ruining the game, I think that's a little bit of a ridiculous statement, but when we start moving into things that are black bordered, like the Godzilla cards, of course, they're kind of just like official alters, which is fine, and I honestly, my biggest issue with the Godzilla cards was the one Godzilla card that did not get a non-Godzilla version, and that was the box topper. So I think that that's really disappointing, and I am going to talk a little bit more broadly about other, IPs. But again, they put that little frame on it that, man, in the future, there was a really easy way for them to reprint it. Now, I know, before you guys go angrily commenting in the comments, I know that they can reprint these, and we're going to talk about that a little bit coming up. Either way, that brings me to a good point. These cards are going to be hard to reprint. They said that they can reprint them under other names, but how do you tell the average player that this new card is actually the same card as an old card with a different name, different art, and maybe even different rarity? There's no clear way to tell that these Walking Dead cards are an alternate Magic card. Sure, it may be doable, but it won't be very clear to the average Magic player. I mean, you have to think about it. Most players are just playing at their kitchen table. So now, what if Nagan, or whatever, what if this person wants to run 4 of him and 4 of his alternate? They're not going to know that that's the same card. And you might say, well, it's casual. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, say they try to take that deck to, say, an FNM or some weird event, they're going to get, not yelled at, but they could get disqualified because they didn't understand that, wait, this card and this card have different names. Sure, they do the same thing, but they have different names, different art, were released in different sets, have different rarities even. So I think that, the thing about the Godzilla cards is it has the name of the other card on it. So players can very easily say, if you only have the non-Godzilla version, you won't even know the Godzilla version exists. But if you have the Godzilla version and the normal version, you'll notice that both have the same name. And that's really what's so redeeming about it. But in the future, this is just going to be a big source of confusion, which seems like Wizards of the Coast doesn't care about anymore. They don't care if things are confusing. Let's take a look at a bunch of mechanics in the past year. Companion, maybe not Companion isn't that confusing, but like things like Mutate and even double face cards, modal double face cards, have so many different rules that you have to look up. So I guess players are kind of getting used to not being able to just play Magic based on the cards they have, but I think that's a bad direction to go. I mean, think about it. For the average player who might just pick up a pack at Walmart every once in a while, do they really want to have to go looking at every single card they pull and say, oh wait, did they forget to add a creature type to this one? Oh, let me see if they added that. Or, oh, how does this interact with this? Even if it's a very basic thing within the set, I just think it's honestly ridiculous. I think that they should have done the Godzilla tech, as they call it, and we'll talk about that again a little more in the future. So, second, they are only going to reprint these if the demand is high. That means if you like the mechanics of a certain card, but don't like The Walking Dead or third-party IPs, you have to play with that version. Yes, the argument of, oh, but we can reprint them, don't worry, it's only going to take like 2 years to get them in a product, is ridiculous. First off, the price on these is going to only get higher. It's similar to the reserve list. I mean, people are going to just hold on to these cards and sell them for higher and higher prices, which means if you like the effect, that's one big issue. The other issue is I'm a person who likes the lore of the game. I'm not reading every book and all that, but I like the feeling that Magic has, and these cards really take away from that. If I want to build one of these decks, like as a commander deck, I'm forced to use the other IP, and unless these cards become super popular, they're not really going to reprint them, which means that we won't get non-Walking Dead versions. And they even said, by the way, that in the future they could work with AMC again and maybe even get just, a second wave of these out. That way there's still Walking Dead IP. And there are so many things that I feel like they did wrong with this. On top of that, there will be only a very tiny amount of these. They could be super high in price even if they're not that played. And what if one of these cards does become a staple in Eternal format? These are some main issues, but there's others. Like, why did they release them like this? They pushed the boundary in way too many territories all at the same time. On top of that, secret layers don't even ship everywhere normal Magic does. So if you want some of these cards, you're going to have a really hard time doing it unless you're going to pay exorbitant prices from other sellers. On screen, you may be seeing a quote if I find it again, but Mark Rosewater on his blog talked about why they didn't use the Godzilla alternate skin technology. Because in my opinion, I wouldn't have made this video if they used the Godzilla alternate skin technology, as they call it. I would have just been like, okay, I don't like this, but at least it won't be confusing to players, people will understand, and it clearly states that, hey, we can reprint these as Magic cards in the future, versus now there are so many people getting upset that because they don't think these are ever going to be reprintable, which they are. But the quote above was said by Mark Rosewater. I have a ton of issues with it. Let's start. First, he says, unlike the Godzilla cards that were distributed inside of booster packs along with the rest of Ikoria, the Walking Dead cards are sold by themselves. That meant we wanted them to maximize their appeal as a box set. Putting extra names on them was aesthetically unattractive. So he's establishing here that the point of Secret Lair is to be an attractive set of cards. So why not have them as skins for past cards? If they literally had to make the game more complex and harder to play just so that the cards look better, that's a pretty big sign that their main goal with Secret Lair are to make cards that look cool. I know when they released they said that they could do new cards, but this seems like an awful time to start. Now my second issue is that the Godzilla cards were meant to be alternate art. Why are alternate arts not considered something that needs to be aesthetically appealing? I'm not saying that I didn't want them to put Magic names on them, I'm just curious why this product is treated so differently. Obviously, the answer to that question is that these need to be attractive on their own and are not just a simple add-on, as most alternate art probably should be. However, this product was a failure on so many levels. It's the first time they're doing new cards in a Secret Lair. They're doing non-Magic cards, they are legal in older formats, and this is the first time they're using alternate names without putting the Magic form on the card. If they would have done any of these steps one at a time and seen the feedback along the way, this disaster would have been avoided. I mean, they pushed forward in new cards in Secret Lairs, non-Magic IP on cards, black bordered Magic IP on cards, not putting alternate names on cards, having it be a tiny little pool of cards that are going to be legal, making them attractive to Commander players. All of these things are just wrong, and when you compile them together, you get one of the biggest disasters in Magic history. So, this video is going to be a bit rambly, because I just have an issue with these cards on so many levels. This is clearly just a cash grab from Wizards of the Coast, and I think it's ridiculous. While this round of cards may end up not making an impact on any format, it sets an awful precedent for the future and may show where Wizards will head in the future. Think about it. This product is going to sell well, and that encourages them to do it again. I don't have any doubt in my mind that this product will be the best-selling Secret Lair of all times. Why? Because people see that these cards are going to get very expensive very quickly after this is over. Because, you know what? It's the first time they're doing this. And so that means people are going to buy it. Even if they disagree with the product, yet, the financial value, or even the fact that they may not be able to get these cards in the future, is enough to get people to buy it, and I think that is predatory. I think this is overall, and I've said this over and over again, a really bad choice. This product seems like bad choice after bad choice. I hope that something can be done to rectify it. Now, I don't like to just criticize something without giving my ideas on how it can be fixed. Yes, it's not my job to fix it, but I think that people who go out and say, I'm going to complain about something, and then not offer solutions are not helping as much as they could. I mean, here are just some simple solutions I was able to come up with in like 5 minutes. Make the cards silver bordered. This could be done now, as they technically haven't been printed yet. Now, I don't know how the logistics work. Maybe they've already sent the order or something. I don't know exactly. And actually, at the time of this video's release, they probably have started the printing order. But between the initial feedback and the time of them actually going to print, they should have been able to change these to silver bordered physically. And if they can't change them to silver bordered, they could have, errated it. They could have made the weird triangle looking thing at the bottom. Oh, and don't even get me started on that stupid triangle. At the bottom of all the Secret Lair cards, there's a triangle, like hollow stamp. And I have a big issue with this. They said this is for non-Magic IP cards, which means they plan on doing this again. And that really makes me upset that they have designed a system that like this so that in the future they're going to do so many of these that you're going to need to know this. You're not going to be able to keep track of everything, and I think it's dumb. I think that if they said, triangle, hollow stamp card, not legal in any Eternal format, fine, then that would fix everything. I'm not a huge fan. Either way, they could also just make them not legal in Eternal formats, like I said. They could make them reskinned versions to similar. They could make them reskinned versions similar to the Godzilla cards. And those could be reskinned versions of Commander Legends cards. We literally have a giant product full of legendary creatures coming up, and they decided, let's not make them skins of those. And I get they wanted them to be, similar to their card, but you could have actually just designed legends with those exact abilities in Commander Legend and then made them those cards. And yes, some people may have drawn the connection, but at least it would have been better than this. They could have also put the Godzilla frame on them to open up future reprints. That would be something that would probably already have to have been done. They could just update the art of an old card and not change the name. Just, if you're a Walking Dead fan, cool, it's like an official altar. Or they could just not do it, and I think that would have been the best choice. Also, in terms of a franchise to pick, why The Walking Dead? I mean, I know they have some connection to Hasbro in a way, so that's probably a big part of it, but, there are so many, fandoms that are bigger and that aren't so mature in content. I mean, Magic is a game for everyone, and now you're going to have people going and playing against cards that have done terrible things in TV shows. And, how is that going to make, younger audiences feel? So just, again, I think this product failed on so many levels. I know this video was kind of just me rambling point after point, but I can't get my mind off of how bad of a choice this was. How many people had to go through this and see, and they all had to be like, yeah, this was totally fine. This is ridiculous. Either way, guys, I will see you in the next one. Let me know your guys' thoughts on it down below. I have a pretty good guess as what they'll be. Either way, would you guys want to see more of these, maybe with a better franchise, maybe silver bordered? What would they have to do to be able to keep printing third-party IP cards in Magic? What would they have to do for that to be okay with you guys? I want to know. See you guys in the next one.